everyone is in this room because they want to break in, right? They want to be in your shoes. So I would love for you all to talk about what, given your experience, right? We have people who've been in the field for a while. What do you think are the essential skills? Where are the opportunities to really bridge that knowledge of technology with this passion for media that everyone has in the room? We'll start with you, Kanene. Yes.
So how do people break in?
Yes. Your advice for breaking into a role like yours.
Okay. So upskilling. Yes. Upskilling is also a part of sales, right? So I am constantly juggling, navigating 24 hours a day, right? Finite amount of time. So, your parents, your laundry, there's things that you have to get done and then things that you need to get done. And so I'm about to finish an online MIT course on generative AI, right? Check, right? So upskilling is really important. Like I said, do deep dives. Like I look at my phone and I look at people and I go, okay, 2 different categories. People who follow up and are serious and people who just goes, oh, okay, I don't need a congratulations. I said to show up to my events, right? So think about when people invite you somewhere or when you see something on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever it is you are, do you like it? Or do you actually converse with the person, go to the link, do you actually follow up? What I always say is, Beyonce's good, okay? She's good, right? Find the Beyonce of your industry. Fan them like you fan Beyonce. If you're listening to Beyonce, Cowboy Corner like 10 times a day, are you listening to the podcast of the Beyoncés of your industries 10 times a day? Are you going up on their LinkedIn? Are you going up on their LinkedIn? Reshare. Like, think about it, right? Like, that's how you're gonna get to the next level, is you're connecting these dots, you're making yourself familiar in informal and formal ways, and what I said, I guest lectured, this was like, I've talked at various amazing places. I did Ad Week, and I'm new to the advertising industry, but the thing that I'm like, oh my God, was the global head of trust and safety for Meta had me come and talk to her students at George Washington University. That just happened like last week. I was like, oh my God. I cried, because again, this is it, not celebrities. You all, this is it, right? How do we pass the baton so you all can keep running and win this relay race? That's what's most important to me. Each one teach one. And so what I shared with them is to be invaluable, right? And what was the 2 things? I said invaluable and unforgettable. Sure, you're eager. Everyone can be eager. That's a mask. Hi, everyone can be eager, right? But are you gonna share with them something about their industry that they didn't know, that if they know that, whoa, it's gonna pivot their whole day, their whole week, their whole year? Can you share something like that? I do that all the time, right? Because I'm researching, I'm scrolling to the bottom of LinkedIn. I really do. So that to me would be the thing. Like, you are who you are, and that's amazing, but why? Why am I gonna pick up the phone? Why am I gonna respond? I get people to respond, honey, because they look at me like, oh. And then I become invaluable and unforgettable. That's what you want. You want someone to say, oh, she reached out to me, great. We don't know what she's gonna say, but it's probably gonna be something that's gonna make me laugh or make me think. Boom. Okay, thanks.
Because it's about standing out. We were chatting earlier. They hear from a lot of people. And so you want to stand out, and to stand out, you have to do your homework and know who you're networking with. Let's go, Vanessa, and then to Laura.
What I would add to that, because not everyone's going to walk in the room and be super excited about networking. I wasn't. And sometimes, for me, my social battery dwindles, right? So there are some of us that are like, okay, like, we have to mentally prepare ourselves to be that connector. And that's okay. And what I would say is, even if you don't come out hot, right? There's a way to find that connection that's true to you. So there are candidates that we speak to, or there are employees that I speak to who, even like during the interview process, right? Because not every position, again, I'm not interviewing every single person, but if I'm asked to be part of a panel, it's because they're asking me to look for a certain something. And I think what speaks to me with folks who are junior in their position, or who maybe don't even have any experience, but had the courage to apply and took the conversation, is when they're able to find something that's happened in their past that gives them the confidence to feel like they can get the job done that they've been applying for, right? And if there's something that they notice maybe they haven't had an experience, they're open and honest about it, and they're curious enough to ask for help. And so for me, sometimes that one-on-one conversation, organic or not, right? Sometimes it's a formalized interview. You should always advocate for the experiences that you've had, for the experiences that you want, or for the experiences that you're curious and maybe are out of reach, right? Because there are going to be some positions where they tell you, listen, we actually do need someone with experience for X role, right? And that's okay. Your question back to them is, what is your recommendation for finding an experience that would be a transferable skill set, right? It's okay to hear a no, because sometimes a no is just a repurposed not yet.
Everybody write that down, right? What could you add that you're missing, right? Thank you, use it as a learning opportunity, right? Even that no is a yes. We'll go Laura and then to A'ngelique.
Yeah, I think for me, like a little bit of like authenticity and enthusiasm goes a long way. Like, I can't recommend enough, like, we live in a city of opportunity, in my opinion, the greatest city in the whole entire world. And at any given night, I've had more fun on a random Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday night in New York City than any other weekend in any other city. And like, the world really is our oyster here. So whether it's like interests, hobbies, expanding that circle. Showing up here was a big step today. It was beautiful out. You could be having margaritas on a porch someday, but instead you're here. Like, that shows commitment, intellectual curiosity, and just a willingness to expand your network, expand your circle. And I think, a little bit of that goes a long way. I love a resilient story. I love an interesting origin story. I love hearing about, difficulties that people have had to overcome. When I've met sometimes the perfect candidate, and I ask to hear, like, oh, tell me about a time when. You'll hear that a lot with recruiters. Tell me about a time when. It's just them really trying to get to more of, tell me who you are. Tell me something about you that will help me understand what drives you a little bit better. And you can learn a lot from someone by what they've overcome to get to where they are. Because we all have those stories. They all look very different, but it's all how you dealt with those challenges that have come your way. So I would say authenticity, resilience, and knowing yourself, knowing your story, and nourishing those hobbies outside of what your drive to do is, because beautiful things can happen when you're enjoying a hobby that you're not monetizing, that you're not hustling on the side. It took me like later in life to learn that, like, not every interest I have needs to have like an Etsy shop to go with it. Just follow your passions, expand those circles. And I need that space in life to be creative, to have that headspace, to just really connect with other people that are in that mindset.
I love the variety of advice. A'ngelique.
I would say, think about the path less taken, right? I feel like right now, more people are trying to become social influencers right now, and thanks in part to TikTok and Google, of course, but that's a path that's very limited, right? So what are other career opportunities within media and tech that you can explore? So if you're paying attention to podcasts, you can hear about industry news of how like AI and the industry is evolving. Ad sales is one opportunity that people don't necessarily think about. And when you think about the large scale of things, right now, YouTube used to be the only ad-supported platform. Now you have Netflix, you have Apple, you have Amazon now creating these ad-supported roles. So how can you build your skill sets to, to align with that kind of opportunity that you would not necessarily think about. Or even when you think about AI, I know there's a stigma around AI taking all the jobs, but AI cannot be supported and succeed unless there's human management. So think about how can I use AI in custom content? What are careers around that I can align with? Or webinars that I can attend to get me more honed in on those skill sets? How can I think about misinformation in AI and how that can be monitored? So content moderation is going to be, exploding in the next year. So think about these new opportunities that are emerging because of how the industry is evolving, and think of that as a pathway of how you can enter into the media field, as opposed to the standard, regular, media opportunities that you would think that would get you involved in this career. And let that be the first step. Some of the podcasts, like shameless plugs, that I listen to are Behind the Numbers, eMarketer, love that, The Town, and Plain English by Derek Thompson. Those are my go-to every morning to understand what's going on at Google, what's going on across the industry and tech and media. So I highly recommend those for you guys to listen to just stay abreast of what's going on in the industry.